All right. Excellent. So welcome back. We are week 4. I'll share my screen. We'll get rocking and rolling. That's now screen 1. And everybody disappeared on me. Find it back. There's someplace for me. Let me do this real quick. Apologies.
You should be okay.
We're going to do that one. And then we're going to do.
Thank you.
All right. We should be good now. All right. Better-ish. I can't see you, but I shall figure that out momentarily. So that's fine. So going to kind of go over a couple housekeeping items. Action-packed night again. We're going to go over face-offs. We're going to go over crease play. Dick has set up his basement to be a goal. So we're going to have some fun interaction there. Him and Steve are going to take that portion, and we're also going to do personal fouls tonight. Texted a ton of you today, so we got better throughout the day. But again, the bigger key is part of not being in class for so many hours is that we need to do different things online as well. The homework also has a larger application to it. It's not simply just a yes or no question, as you guys saw. Some of it was, again, just communicating. One of the bigger pieces is communicating with your partner before a game. The referee will reach out. We're trying to go in reverse right now, but generally when you get a game, a referee will reach out, and if they can't come and contact you within 24 hours, you might look to get replaced on a game. So it's that kind of serious of you can lose assignments, especially if it's same day and we haven't gotten in touch with you. Some of you, the same thing. I sent you 3 text messages, I sent you 2 emails, and I called 1 or 2 of you. And I have 1 or 2 people I still haven't talked to. I had 4 people out of over a month of asking, 4 people I didn't get a text from you in the first place. I get you're busy. I get things are going on. I know we're not fully in season yet. But again, it needs to be, hey, this is the issue. Again, there's an expectation. The assignment, just like when Dave sends it out, is you only get 72 hours to click a button or the assignment's gone. Sometimes it's even closer at 48 hours. I send a PDF out the day before, and if not, I send an email out if it's going out on Wednesday, but it's out. So if you don't have that PDF, I need to know. The PDF, again, sent it in multiple kind of different ways. Not a ton of stuff. We're not trying to overwhelm you. It's essentially the itinerary that you can at least blow off. You got 5 different videos, 4 of which if you're newer, that's it. All of these videos take under about 20 minutes to watch. And then 2 activities, probably the most important to get you games is arbiter blocks. We had still 2 officials that didn't send any blocks at all. Dave and John have assigned about 75% of the season already, right? They were working on it this morning, talked to them. So again, these things are critical, right, to operating. And again, as an independent contractor and a human, you have things going on in your life. So I understand that. But same thing where I got the gamut between I didn't get the PDF. Oh, wait, I didn't see it. I didn't see any assignment in it. I got the homework isn't due. I didn't set a due date, right? Which is kind of good. And then I also got yes, I called my cadre member. I got a whole bunch of different things. And then I got the other ones which makes sense of I didn't get time to do it yet. And you said Monday was fine, and that's okay. Shoot me a quick text as a reminder. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. But again, that communication goes a long way. So that's what we're going to really harp on this week as well. The expectation is I'm going to send this out tomorrow, our recap. Need to get that activity done, whatever it's going to be. John and I haven't come up with it yet. But again, we're harping on this because this is a larger skill set that raises some red flags as we go into the season. That kind of makes sense on that one. It also helps me. The reason why I asked for these 3 is a lot of you gave different things. If you like breakout rooms or didn't like breakout rooms, the way that we frame things, some of you like the online videos, some of you didn't like that. It helps us make this towards you as a group. Your group is more unique, obviously, is the only class that's going through this year. It's going to be different than next year. Everyone's going to have different needs. So again, that's the big key. The recap, again, is kind of self-explanatory. I also laughed. I had one person saying, yeah, I watched the recap, but I didn't see any homework. And again, you have to scroll past the activity. right? So if you want me to put a bold, I can. But again, trying to treat you obviously that you do have things going on. There's no time frame, but the expectations, you have to get it done. And the last part, again, not trying to be doom and gloom, but you have to pass this course in order to get assignments. We have to certify you as an organization that we know what you're doing on the field. And a lot of that is simply just attending and participating. That's it. You obviously we have to pass the test. We're gonna have an entire week for that. But again, the goal is these are not graded assignments, but if again in the Excel sheet I'm recording every person that's called a cadre member, every person that's texted Rob today, every person that has watched the video, we can see those, right? Everything to attending these meetings, all of those are going in, right? And so we need those. And then the other part of that too, we're looking Joe, who's part of our board as well. Joe Sikora is looking to do mentors, and we want to give you mentors as well. And it's tough for me. Joe and I had an honest discussion about it of, do we give you a mentor if we know you're never going to reach out to them? That's a different expectation as well. Can somebody have two mentors if they want them, right? So again, we want to divvy resources, and we want to be respectful of your time as a person learning this, right? We don't want to come in crushing you either, of saying this is the only way you got to do it and too bad. Being a ref is tough, and retaining refs is even tougher. So we understand that. So we're trying to play in the middle. So all I'm asking you, the bigger expectation is if something's not going great, even in the week, or if your job requires that you can't be on the phone, or you're traveling, or you're out of the country. I had one of those too. Like, just tell me. I had a person tell me that they were going to be out of the country in like early January, and that's going on in March. Like, again, it doesn't need to be that far. That's great. I'll probably forget, to be super honest with you, right? But again, just give me like a day heads up, or even the morning of, right? I even got a text 10 minutes ago saying, oh, I can't make class. I had something come up yesterday and I got scheduled for tonight at 7 to work. Just shoot me a text. That's all I ask. Sound good on all those? Got a couple thumbs up and a good. So that's
Sounds good.
Real quick, but it's important. I promise you. It's just like anything else in life. Of the more we communicate, the better we get. So let me redo this one real quick. This is being super wonky. Let me see if I could just share you. And it is still not being cool to me. That's okay. I just want to see you guys. That's okay. Show video panel. There we go. Awesome. Okay. I couldn't see anybody. I was talking to like a straight up screen. Okay. We're rock and roll, and we have slides up, correct, for you guys? Cool. All right. One of the things I got, just want to touch on it very quick, and we're going to keep moving since we got a lot to do, is I found this slide, which is great. The youth slides have more pictures. So I think I'm just going to go with youth slides from here on out. Is all the adult slides are words, and all the youth slides are pictures. The pictures are so much better, right? It's such a better visual for what we see. So one of the questions I got was, again, the counts. So again, we're going to have different counts. The first one is our 4 count. When does our 4 count occur? Who needs the ball and where?
Goalie and the
goalie.
crease.
Yep, goalie has possession in the crease, right? Dick and Steve are going to go over that. Once the goalie gets it, right, I'm going out with my arm. Some people like saying to the belt and out. A little bit lower is fine. I just like throwing it straight out like this, right? And so again, we're going to count. Again, it's a slow 4. It's a good 4.5, 4 3/4, 4 5/8, right? We're not trying to trap the goalie. Very rare does this call occur. It's usually a youth goalie who's never done that before, right? But nonetheless, they're going to move out of the crease. So that's going to start our 4. As we also do, again, as a mechanic, goalie catches the ball. We're going to go up to signal. If we're doing a NCAA game and we have a shot clock, we might give a signal. We usually go, this is our change of possession. I will put my beeper on. I wear it on my right side. Everybody's different on what they want, and we'll go over that in the clinic on how we wear everything. We do a clinic, and then I start my 4. So it's a good 5-second count if you think about that, right? Of goalie catches it, beeper, 1, 2, 3, and I don't do it audible, 4. But again, just as a time, right? Goalie catches the ball, 1, beeper, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, right? It's a long count on purpose, right? Is we can kind of move through it. Then we have the 20-second, that's our beeper that continues to stay on. The goalie is part of that, right? That's why we do the beeper first. Once the ball goes over the midline, now we have a 10-second. So we use our beeper. Once the beeper goes off, if the ball's has not broken the plane, we have a failure to advance. So we tap our head, right? Similar signal means different things in different sports, but we tap our head, right? And then we point back to the offensive team where we're going. Once they get over, then we're going to start our 10-second count. Some guys like signaling to their partner and pointing towards the goal we're going. I prefer not to do that because we're usually running and looking at other things. And then again, same as the 4 count, we just do a 10 count until they touch into the offensive attack area. Once they get in, we have to give a super big signal. We're all going to do it. So we're going to go straight to the air. And then we chop. We call it a chop straight down, and we point towards the actual attack area. So it's nice and high, and we chop. The big key is you don't want to make it just a chop and we're good, right? Chop and point down. I'm trying to go and I'm not standing up, right? So I'd be up and then I come down and I point. And the key is we need to see it. Why does, if I'm the lead official and I make the chop signal, why does my partner need to see that? What's now in effect once we touch in that box? So if my partner is the trail up here, why does he or she need that signal? What's now activated?
Over and back or offsides? Over and back, I think.
Over and back, over and back. Yeah, we can have offsides at any point, but over and back is now activated, right? So again, if we don't have it, and I kind of didn't make a symbol, you're either going to get two things. You're either going to get a confused partner or you're going to have a coach screaming, why is there no count, right? One very advanced level scenario where there could be no count, ball comes over the midline loose, nobody's gained possession. We do not start the 10 count until that offensive team gains possession. It's a very rare scenario, but the ball could squirt over loose and you technically could just be standing there. Coaches will be yelling at you, right? And you kind of, coach, no possession, no possession. As soon as that offensive team picks it up, we have a 10-second. The defensive team picks it up. What do?
20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Hand up in the air. Beeper. Awesome. Questions on the counts?
So it's 4 seconds for the goalie once he gets it. 10 seconds to get into once you're in the attack. No, that's yeah.
Yep. So 4 seconds for the crease.
4 seconds for the crease.
Which is part of the 20 to get the ball over the midline.
Okay.
And then it's 10 once you're in this yellow area to get it into the green area.
Okay, and the green area is the attack area, correct?
The attack area, yes. Also known colloquially as the box, to use a college word at you, right? That's the only, there used to be more reasons for it, but essentially that's the box area or the attack box or the attack area or the offensive goal area. Lots of different fun names for it. All mean the exact same thing.
Okay.
Yes, Dick.
You might want to just go over any timeout that's called during those clearing counts. What do we do?
Resets. Yep. We had done that last week, and that's a good little reminder, right? We reset depending on where it is. If it's in purple, we always go back to 20. If it's in yellow and they have not got into green, goes back to 10. If they've already gotten green, we play as normal. There's no count. Over and back is on. They only have to satisfy it one time. Yes, Steve.
Yeah, Robbie, I just want one small clarification. We said before, goalkeeper in the crease starts a 4 second count. It's any defensive player who has possession of the ball in the crease. Okay, we'll talk about goalkeeper privilege and stuff later, but any player, if a defensive player scoops up the ball and he's in the crease, he also has only 4 seconds to get it out. Okay, so whatever defensive player picks up the ball, just to clarify.
Thank you, sir. All right. Anything else we got on clearing counts?
Hey, Rob, just real quick.
Yeah.
This is obvious to people who've known the game, but a lot of youth level games, they don't do counts. You might see it at the highest level, 14U, 7th and 8th grade, potentially, but underneath that, like your 8, your 10, your 12, they're not going to go to counts. So this is predominantly high school.
Correct, high school, and then you are correct, it might be upper level, and then this is one of those pregame questions we ask the coaches on the youth level every single time, because everybody's going to be a little bit different. Sometimes you'll go, and just because youth gets very confusing to realize what team you are sometimes, there's numbers, there's letters, there's colors, there's like magic adjectives that get put to the team names, like they're the super elite 8C, B, T, L, J, black, gold, orange. And you're like, cool, what are we playing today? Right? Is none of that makes any difference to me, to your exact point. The coaches will then agree if they're doing counts or no counts. To your point, the more elite level, the 14s, maybe the 12s on a very elite level are the only ones playing at a youth level. Sound good? All right. So we're going to move into our face-offs. So a face-off, that I have one more slide, but I don't. So the first two are going to be kind of simple, right? And we're going to explain what a face-off is, and I'll actually go back. So a face-off, anytime we start a period, and after every goal, we're going to have a face-off. Because it's lacrosse, we immediately have an exception. The one exception is if we have an uneven scenario, as we said, including a flag down, to start a new period, that team is entitled to possession. Don't get overly sidetracked on that, right? Essentially, if the team in possession, regardless offense or defense, has the ball, we have an uneven, they get the ball at the spot where they stopped. Every other time, we're going to have a face-off, right? So then what is a face-off? A face-off, if you watch hockey, you see them often as well. For us, they're limited. As we said, they only start a period, such as first, second, third, fourth, and overtime, or overtime 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? And after every goal. So we could have anywhere a minimum, we'll say 1 face-off, because I know John's going to look at me. I'll say 4 face-offs at minimum if we have no issues, right? I know he was, technically you could have 1, all the way up to, you could have 30, 40, 50 face-offs if the game is 25 to 25. Could be a lot of them. So we spend a lot of time on this game. Because this then determines possession, it is very, very heavily regulated, because possession is the most important thing at the end of the day besides the score. You need possession in order to score goals. So possession is always highly regulated, as we said. So we're going to put the 2 players down together, and there's a center line that's going to occur, and there's a dot, and then we're going to place the ball in that dot. And then players are going to put their sticks together on the back side. The other unique thing about this is you can only face off righty. You cannot hold it lefty. You have to hold it your right hand closer to the head of the stick. You have to hold it parallel to that line, perpendicular to the ground. So it'd be a 90-degree, right? Up and down. And then the head of your stick, as we see on the screen, is 10 inches. So meaning the ball needs to be in the middle of that area. We have now moved to a scenario where the players need to come down correctly as best as humanly possible, and they should center themselves on the ball to make sure they gain no potential advantage within sports. That's what we're kind of mandating every player to. You got to be as honest as possible. Don't cut a single corner on a lap, right? Do everything perfectly by the book. It's never going to happen, right? Everyone's going to gain an advantage, so you're going to see them incorrectly. But the first thing we're going to do, and these are kind of the easy ones, they need to go parallel to the line, up to the line, but not touching, and they need to put the middle of their head where the ball is. And purposely, I got a street hockey ball to show you orange versus white so we can see, right? In the middle. We're going to put it in the middle. If I was on the line, I was looking at it, and then my opponent is going to do the same. So that's step 1. It's kind of the easy part. If we then turned it and looked at the same view you were looking, you'd see that, right? If we looked from above, same thing, would be in the center on the line. We're going to then also, there's a lot, we're going to ensure that those gloved hands, I got props to you, Dick, I promise. We have a lot of props going on tonight. We have 2 gloved hands. I'm going to do one for the sake of I got to control a mouse, right? And I have to have it fully wrapped around the cross, both hands, this one as well. I now have to have my palm up is now the rule. right? So I had to have palm up. And then we go, I had to be fully wrapped. I can't be half wrapped around, right? So I got to be fully wrapped, and both of my hands have to be touching the ground as well. That's the new one, the back end. For any of the advanced people, we like picking your hand up because we now can leverage our stick using physics. I know most high schoolers don't pay attention to physics, but they pay attention just enough to understand how to cheat on face-offs. I was one of them. I was very bad at physics, but I knew how to cheat, right? And so you will see that. So we need both hands on the ground, fully wrapped around the cross. We will then see they line right up, right? This looks pretty good. The additional portion is we're going to have everything to the left of our head. We're going to call that the neutral zone. So the white head on our cross stick, or the player has got a black head with a green mesh in there, everything's to the left of that head as well, right? And so we don't see, you also can cap them out. They can't have their leg all the way out as well. We don't see that very often. They'll pull them in, they got to be the width of the cross, but we essentially want that neutral zone. So where the heads are, if we looked in this area, that red area goes from the entire length of the head. So anything here to here, I need to be on this side of the head. If that makes sense, my camera's reversed on my view, but everything needs to be over that. You can't have anything in that neutral zone. The last part is we also can't touch the plastic. It's like 18,000 things to remember on a face-off, right? It's a lot of stuff. We're already there. I can't touch the plastic. As a former face-off guy, the closer up you get, the more you can leverage and bend your stick. So that's why it is now illegal to touch that plastic, right? So what we have done is in the high school game, we will have a contrasting color of tape or a contrasting shaft from the gloves in the head. So mine is pink, right? Gives you a nice identifier, and we might see color or see tape. We'll ask them. And so they will generally start this far apart, which looks really good. You go, Mr. Official, do you see how much tape I have? And then you go, yeah, great. You're looking at my other guy, and now I'm back down to right here, and I'm on the head. They're going to move it, right? So just be aware of all those things, right? So now we go again, fingers wrapped all the way around. We're touching the ground. Sticks are up to but not touching the line. And then our last one, our sticks are parallel in a line, right? Once we get all of that stuff good, the other part too is in that equation of the neutral zone. I'm not going to put it on because I got a headset. My helmet needs to be to the left of my head as well. I can't be leaning over the head. I can lean over the line this way though, with my helmet. So I can go over the line. I just can't be in that neutral zone. So if I just go back real quick, I could be over the line with my helmet in this area. I just can't be over the head. So you will often see both players are crowding that neutral zone together 9 times out of 10. Now we will go through the procedure. Makes sense for all the technicalities. There is a lot of them really quickly.
Rob, can you just explain about where the ball placement is relative to the heads of the stick, what it means for the ball to be in the middle?
Yes, you brought that up before. Yes. So essentially, you will see guys will actually cheat both ways. And so in the middle is the worst spot because this is the area where I have, to John's point, this is a street hockey ball, so it's going to stick for me. This is an illegal stick anyway. But the closer I get down here, I can leverage, and we call it a plunger or a pinch, and I will move mine down so you can see. If I can rotate this stick, I can now bend and manipulate my head to pinch this ball so I can go in and pinch it and snag it back out as I smash my dining room wall, but that's besides the point, right? So the closer down I get, I can gain an advantage by plungering, just like a regular plunger, and taking that ball out. You will also see guys now are purposely moving to be here because we will call this a rake, like a garden or a leaf rake, and they will do the same thing and try to move it very quickly out and catch it on the tops of these shooter strings. So to John's point, the only spot you will not have an advantage if it is dead center. So the better face-off guys, depending on their style, will want it moved. I was a plunger type of guy. We'll try to move it here. It's kind of like rock, paper, scissors. Guys will counter attack and try to rake out quicker. And you might see one guy really close here and the other guy's lined up, and then both players are super far away from the ball. So again, by rule, we have to be in the middle to be fair, which is the worst spot of where the head is designed, if that makes sense. So we're teaching you the why more than the how, if that makes sense, of why we're looking at these and why guys are trying to gain advantage. And as simple as it sounds, again, I will use a hockey reference. A elite level NHL faceoff guy goes out about 56%. A poor faceoff guy is about 50 to 52%. It's that slight of a difference of 4% over the course of 50 draws. Similar in lacrosse, a excellent is 60, phenomenal is like 80. Most guys are right around 50. If you can gain the ball and have possession, just like any other sport, 2-3 more times, it changes the way the game is decided. Think football. If the Eagles have 3 more possessions, it's a different game. I'm a Jets fan, so we can make fun of me all day, right? But think about any sport. The more possessions you get, the higher probability to score, the more chance you are to win. Dick, you had some?
Hey, Rob, I had a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Hey, so I know that the gloves have to be on the ground, right? But do your knees or anything can't be on the ground either, right? During face-off? I don't know whether you covered that yet.
Yeah, the knee, I almost took the cat out. The knee cannot be on the ground to start. It can be touch the ground afterwards.
Okay, because on that picture, that one guy has his knee on the ground. That's why I was asking.
That's actually his foot, I would say.
No, the
Oh,
other
nope,
guy
his
in the
knee's
black,
right there.
Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
his knee's right there. Yep. So yes, you can't have the knee. That will come up in, I think, this next slide. Okay.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
Yep. No, you're perfect. So your knee on the ground after is okay. Just can't be before. You can't set up with the knee on the ground. It's a leverage scenario.
After the whistle.
After the whistle. Yes. Thank you. Sometimes I imply stuff and I don't say it out loud. So how do we then conduct a face-off? First off, you have to get a ball. This is your key. We talked about this. You have to retrieve the ball out of the goal, or you have to retrieve the ball before the quarter. If you don't have a ball, make sure you get one before you get out to the face-off. Nothing looks worse than you get out there and you go, sorry, John, I'm not getting you a ball. Good luck out there conducting your face-off without anything, right? Is make sure your partner has it, right, is a good thing. You can get it from the table. Some guys like putting 3 balls at the table before the game, so that way you can snag one real quick and not have to go chasing after it, which is a smart move. We have a ball, right? We're going to bring the players together. Again, we're going to explain where they exactly are, but you're going to have your 2 face-off guys right there. Have them hang out. A lot of them get real tense. Some guys don't like talking. I was one of them. I didn't like small talk. Don't ask me about the weather. Don't ask me about the clouds. Don't tell me anything else I need to know in life. Everybody's different. Don't be obligated to talk to them. If they talk to you, you can talk back to the players, if that makes sense. If they say, hey, sir, how's your day going? It's awesome to be outside. Keep it brief, keep it professional, right? You don't need to start stuff. It's also a great time if something went wrong on the last face-off, tell them both together is a good thing. You will also get guys that come up and say, psst, that guy Steve is cheating. Excellent. What do you feel that we can look at is a good way? And then John will say, well, I feel like he's touching the plastic. Then I will say in a neutral way, and we had it on this Saturday, the very smart college player called it out. And I said, hey, make sure all of your hands, all 4 of them, need to be touching the ground. And the player goes, haha, he's talking about you. I chuckled a little bit, right? But you still put it in a neutral sense, right? Of, hey, this is what we're looking for. Hint, hint, hint. If we see it again, it's going to get called, right? The goal is to get off a clean face-off. So we want to do that. So we're going to have the ball. We're going to instruct them to go down. They will go down and get into the proper position with all of those things in mind. Hand off the plastic, heads perpendicular, up to the line but not touching. In the center of that 5-inch mark of your head, everything to the left of your head, nothing in the neutral zone, both hands around the stick touching the ground, and also palm up and no knee on the ground. That's it. And have your mouthpiece out. I think we got them all, right? All of those things. In high school, we may correct them. I strongly encourage you only verbally correct them, and you correct them both, and you correct them clearly if you do it. White, move to your left. Gentlemen, clear the neutral zone. Your helmets are in the neutral zone. Hands off the plastic. I need to see tape. Whatever it may be clear. If you start kind of going, we all get into the habit. If we stutter or say too many things, blue, you're right there, but you need to move to your left a little bit with your head. No, your other head, your lacrosse head. I mean your stick. I mean your it gets very bogged down very quickly, right? So be clear, be intentional in what you are saying, I will say your helmet versus your stick. We don't say head because there's a lacrosse head and there is a physical head, right? Players can get confused that. They also don't know left from right. I will say blue, move to your left, right? In the scenario, and we will go over this in the clinic, if you touch a player, only touch helmets and touch both of them at the same time. So even if you're moving one, I will gently place my hands on top of their helmet and I will move one and make it look like I'm moving the other. Because we shouldn't be touching one player, not the other. We shouldn't be touching players at all. Helmets, that only scenario that I see is okay. That's a neutral area you can touch, right? If it's the stick, you can correct them, right? If it is taking, I say, more than a 2 Mississippi count, it should be a violation and we're moving on. These face-offs should go quick. You've seen scenarios, youth players are different. I do have to say that. Youth players, this might be the first time they're ever seeing a face-off, let alone taking one. Be there to educate. In high school, we're there to officiate, not to educate on the face-off, if that makes sense. JV, thirds, different story. But in this scenario, if we need to move ahead, we're going to take that head, right? And same thing, I'm going to move it a lot. And I'm going to move it with some force on purpose, because if that kid is not letting me move, I'm going to say, stand up, ball's going that way. And that's it. I will tell them, I'm not trying to trick them, but I will say, white, I'm going to move your stick. And if you can move that stick, great. If you can't, we have an issue. Once we then say set, nobody moves on the face-off players. You will see college officials are now instructed, they stand still as well on that command. In high school, we can still move a little bit to get out of the way. Again, this official's pretty close. You might see them back up, and that's okay. And then once everything is good, if nobody moves, they didn't move back, you will see them often remove back into their adjustment that you just made. It's a violation, we stand up. We want to blow a whistle. So it is essentially down. I'd say blue, helmet out of the neutral zone. Set. And we blow a whistle. We shouldn't be, one of the bigger pet peeves, I know Bruce isn't here, but I agree with him. We shouldn't be saying set and bringing the whistle to our mouth. Set and the whistle needs to be in our mouth already. So that's something we need to practice. I like doing all of them. This is where Bruce has that Smithy whistle. It's got the small lanyard on it. A lot of the basketball people have that too. So that way, when you're an idiot like me and you drop your whistle to make a call and then it's not on the field, it just hangs on your shirt and you're good. I will use that, but I will do the whole thing with the whistle in my mouth. Yelling down. White, helmet out of the neutral zone. Set. Nice and easy, whole way. Be succinct, be concise, move everything along. If we have a violation, it is not like college. We don't count, we don't have penalties. It is simply the other team's ball. That is it. You do something wrong, other team's ball. To that point as well, on a mechanical standpoint, I like just calling the color of whose team it is. I will instruct the face-off guys at the beginning. So if I see a violation, like a guy jumps early, down, set, white ball, white ball, white ball. Everybody in the place knows what it is. I might say early to give an explanation. If it's very clear and obvious, the kid jumped and he's the only person in the entire stadium that moved, he jumped early. We're good, right? If you see something else, you might give an explanation, right? Hand on the plastic, white ball, white ball, white ball, white ball. We will explain it the next face-off. Guys get very confusing as we say, blue jumped, but white was in the neutral zone. Therefore, we have a red ball. That's a lot of words really quickly. And we also point different ways, right? Give a succinct point straight ahead or whichever way we're going. The other awesome little tip that I picked up, especially in the first couple whistles, you will have no idea which way you're running and what team is going which way. Look at the goalies. If you're going to say it's white ball and you can see the white goalie, you're going in the wrong direction. You want the opposite color you're pointing to, right? So if it's blue ball and I see the white goalie, I'll look. Also remember in all of our calls, you have longer than you think. What color is the goalie? Oh, that's blue. White ball. Not a very long time. Maybe 2 Mississippi, right? It seems like an eternity when you're the one. Everyone's going to watch you and that's okay. Take a second, compose yourself, make the call. If you point the wrong way, it's okay. It's an official's timeout if we do. White, pointing the wrong way, pointing the wrong way. It's gonna be blue ball, blue ball. By rule, we give time for everybody to know and go the correct way, get substitutions, right? Just correct it. It's fine. Just note it, hey, pointed the wrong way. Don't point the wrong way the next time, right? You gotta wait a little bit longer to make that mistake again, right? But especially in the beginning, you get out of a car, you're disjointed, you just figure it out, things go on. So ball, down, set, whistle. Questions so far?
Robbie, Steve,
Yes.
I have some videos that we did during the COVID that I had taken. I'll put them in your folder. And
Perfect.
if you can quickly put a 16-second down face off if you want. I can just share it right now if you want. 16
Sure,
seconds.
go ahead. Yep, you're good. I'll unshare.
You got unshare, right?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, and you're good.
All right. Now I can. There we go. Thank you.
Yep.
Here we go. Can we see that? Can you guys see? Can you see the face off?
Yep, I see it.
This is one of our senior officials, Ted Murphy, and we're just doing the face off, no other things. Here we go. Here we go. Sorry, the verbal's not going in.
Probably have to mute.
That's as I said, I'll put that into the folder. There's a series of violations also, so you'll see a violation as well. All right, I'll stop sharing.
All right, let us do, thank you. And we'll redo this one real quick. All right, a couple of the other things, we're gonna go a little bit quick on purpose, but we also have wing guys. I'm gonna explain who they are and where they stand. Essentially, it is a 3-on-3, as we talked about. We play 3-on-3 for the face-offs. We have our 2 face-off guys. Let me just get my video panel back. And then we have 2 sets on opposite ends of wing players. So 2 over here, 2 over here, and then 2 for the face-off. So again, we play 3-on-3. 2 face-off guys, 2. They may go anywhere they want as long as they're behind this, what is called the wing line, and they're inside of the wing line. So if we drew an imaginary box, it'd be this whole area. They can move. They're not restrained by anything outside of those boundaries we just talked about. And obviously the actual sideline itself. They can run. They may not make contact with one another. You'll see a little bit. They'll be close, right? But they cannot make contact until you're 5 yards within the ball at any point in the field, right? When we then talk officials, we have one in a 2-man game or 2-person game. We have one right over the face-off. We like going 45 degrees, sometimes going straight out. So either at like a 1 o'clock or a 3 o'clock position on a clock. And then down by about 7, we have a wing guy. Depending on the scenario, the wing guy might be closer. Also, if you're, what do we like calling it? If you're speed impaired, I think is our technical politically correct term, is that if your speed is a little bit lower than other people, and that's okay, get out a little bit further. Give yourself a chance, because again, it is about your safety. If this person has been winning the face-off straight out to a 9 o'clock position, these guys are going to be running this way as well. They're going to meet right here. Who's in our middle? Our wing official. Get outside of it, right? Get outside. Because on top of that, once they pick up the ball, this wing official is in charge of this goal, and this official is in charge of this goal. So we still have to get places, right? So the closer you get, give yourself a little bit of an advantage, right? If you're a little bit speed impaired, if you will, right? If you feel confident in it, great. Notice where they are. If these 2 wing guys are down here and you're this wing official, you're going to be okay, right? But if you also see there's a 1-goal game and the team that is going towards the left of the screen here needs a goal, and these wing guys are here and these wing guys are here, get out of the way. The ball is going to come right here and 6 guys are going to be running full speed, right? Anticipate the scenario, what's going to happen, get out of the way the best you can. You need to go home safe too. So with that, again, we don't over officiate the wings. A lot of the times, if they stand apart, we're good. This far side official has both sets of wings. So if we're looking at them, we want the pair that's more contested, can have some things going on, some butt ends, some jabs, some elbows, some stupidity, right? See it. If you're seeing it before the whistle, literally the number one thing I hear is knock it off. Wing guys, knock it off. That's it. That usually takes care of it, right? Is we can have fouls, but they're rare, right? In a scenario, my slide deck. Okay. We're also going to meet, I'm going to totally go ahead. In a scenario, if there's time serving, we have what's called a man down face-off. A player, they can no longer bring people up. They will play the face-off 3-on-2. Until there is possession, then we are still bound by offside rules. And in the scenario of this penalty time expires, let's say in 3 seconds, this player has to wait until that possession occurs. We don't want an extra guy running onto the field. It's a safety concern, right? The last thing you want is the ball squirts out here, B goes to pick it up, and all of a sudden W comes flying out of the box and you didn't know he was there. So you have to wait, right? So we'll play man down. In a scenario, I have yet to see maybe one or twice. I think I lived in Indiana where there's a lot more spearing and brawls that occurred very transparently. In a scenario, if there is 3 men in the box, which is the maximum we can have, the team needs to bring up a defensive player to take the face off and must stay on onside at all times. So there could be a scenario where he literally cannot touch over the line. Very rare, so I will not spend a lot of time on it, like I said, but somebody has to take the face off. They bring them up from the defensive end. So in a man down, we still need 3 on offense, 4 on defense, including the goalie, 3 defensemen and a goalie. And then we have a less guy on the wing. Our pregame, to talk brief, because again, you're going to have senior partners with you. We talk to the face-off guys. I like asking them if they have questions or if they see something weird. 9 times out of 10, face-off guys don't want to talk to you. They're going to listen. They're going to you really quickly, and they're going to want to get out of there. Be succinct. Know exactly what you want to tell them. There's a concern. Go over that, right? Is know your message is what it is. Gentlemen, we're looking for you have to come down correctly. If we adjust you, you have to move. That's simple. Don't hold, don't pinch, don't jump early, any of that stuff. In the other scenario that does occur more often, if something happens, including a face-off violation or something in the field of play, like a push or a hold or something like that, that is non-time serving, we're going to go over that momentarily. Take technical foul, simply award the ball. These restraining lines, as we said, are still in play. We want the restart to occur with only these 6 guys able to move. Once the whistle is blown, possession is awarded, and we may release everybody else on the field. These different players may not sub, so you'll see it. If there's a push, players might try to run out, especially on better teams, and they want to sub. Freeze them. You say freeze, freeze, freeze. We have no release yet. No release. Then we're going to go and blow the whistle. Then we wind our arm as we said. Now we have possession. The restraining lines are off in those scenarios. Regular technical fouls, which we're going to go over next week, abide. And on the face-off, the bigger ones, if you went early, you didn't line up correctly in some fashion, we have holds. Again, if you're holding in some manner, we'll go more on that next week to not confuse you on different terminology. And we could potentially have personal fouls as well. There's some minute ones. Once you get your rule books, that's going to be the areas we're going to go over a little bit more in depth, not to overly confuse you. You can't kick the cross, for example. And then there, again, holding is the most common ones we see. You can't double clamp a ball, things like that. For the sake of tonight, I'm not going to overwhelm you and throw you 40,000 different terms since we still have a lot to do. Make sense on those? Questions, concerns? Bad jokes to start? Excellent. So we're just going to move we're going to do a quick group discussion. So we're going to move to personal fouls. We're going to change our brain in terms of we're no longer on the face-off, and we're going to move through personal fouls. Who can define what my all of the above foul is in any sport, I would say, regardless of where you've had experience? I call them the all the above fouls. Who wants to take a guess? Who's not a cadre member and a veteran who has worked for me and heard me call the all the above? John hates that because he's like, I don't know how many minutes. I'm like, John, it's just all the above. Goodbye. Who wants to take a stab?
Unnecessary roughness and unsportsmanlike conduct.
Close. So in any sport, where can't you hit somebody?
Head, neck area.
Face, in the
Anything in
face
the
and
head.
head.
Okay, so it's high.
Face, head.
Low,
Yeah.
high or low.
Cross
High or
check
low. Yeah. Just in any
Cross-check.
other sport. Yeah, maybe.
in the back.
Behind, in the back,
Yeah. So it's high.
in the head.
Defenseless.
How about a quarterback? A quarterback completes a touchdown pass, goes for a high five, and I could deck him. Is that cool? You said I could hit a quarterback. Why is that not cool?
Exactly.
Because he's not in play.
after
He's not in play. He's not
So
in
we're
play.
late.
Ball's dead.
So we're high, we're late, and there's another word, right? In the I'll use football again. In the modern NFL,
Unnecessary
land on the-
roughness.
yeah, excessive is the other one I like to say, right? High, late, excessive. Those are the all the aboves, right? So these are good ways, and I do this on purpose. None of the other answers were incorrect. Like if you MF somebody, if you curse it, right? John's favorite is he tells every coach to go stick it, right? Just kidding, just kidding. If you cross check them, yeah. But our general consensus, right? High, late, excessive. Those are ones that are no good in any sport. They're no good in our sport, right? And no good in our game. So that's where we set the bar at the highest level. If we see something like that, we go above, right? So where do we then have a threshold, right? We have to have what's tolerated, a normal foul, and then excessive, right? And we kind of have these three different buckets we can fit in. Think of any other sport. We have normal things, right? Like holding, including in a Super Bowl. There's going to be grabbing and tugging. No matter what sport we play, we see that. Then it rises to the level of, is it a normal? We just prohibited a player from making a play or getting to where they needed to go, as versus I mug them. That seems excessive, right? To that scenario. If I mug them high, if I mug them late, those are all not good, right? So think we have three different buckets. Does context matter when we talk these fouls? What do I mean by context?
Like what's happening? What's the play? What's going on in the game? Like if
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
Like if I said, hey, somebody hit me in the arm, is that automatically a slash,
No,
No.
right? Yeah, by the rule book it is, right? Because I didn't hit him on a gloved hand, right? I didn't hit him on the stick, right? And so the same thing is, you just kind of hit me, we're good, right? Now, if I'm trying to dislodge the ball and the first one misses a bit and I kind of get a little bit on the arm, maybe we're okay, right? If I hit him hard on the arm, maybe we're in the normal bucket, right? Or I hit him in the arm and I just missed my check and I just hit him here. Now I'm in normal. Now, to Nessa's point, right? If I just blew past you, scored 3 goals, and Nessa decide I'm done with Rob and his terrible jokes, and I'm just going to baseball swing at his face, high, late, and excessive, we're in a different category, right? And the context might be retaliation, right? Of I gave Nesta a shot, Nesta baseball swings at me, escalated up, right? And so again, those are the 3 buckets. So when we talk personal fouls, right, we have 3 different types: an illegal equipment, illegal conduct, and illegal contact. So 3 different ones, right, are real good. When we go over those, our normal, and we're going to kind of move through these pretty quick, we have cross checks, illegal body checks. I throw everything, John's going to yell at me again, anything involving the head or neck, generally the same concept all across the board. If it's defenseless player, if it's targeting, if it's head or neck, it's the same. There are nuances, we'll go through those, but we all kind of get the point. You can't go at somebody's head. There's slashing, which is with your stick. There's tripping, and there's unnecessary roughness. Those are our big ones. these animations. So super important if you're taking notes, we're going to jot this down. These are your golden brain cues, as I call them. You probably haven't heard that expression before, but I like calling them brain cues. When you're on the field with nobody to help you, except your partner, always there, no matter what. Even if John MF is you in the parking lot, he's still going to be your friend while you're there, I promise, right? But these are your brain cues of figuring out, what do I call, when do I call, what's going on, right? I did it on Saturday too. Sometimes if you don't know what your brain cue is, you just say, maybe we just play on, right? And maybe everything will work itself out. It generally doesn't, but it's sometimes better to make a no call as versus making a wrong call to a higher level, if that makes sense, right? We don't want to over officiate. So on technical fouls, again, we're going to do that next week. Fouls against rules is the way I like to say it. Something got messed up. There are some personal contacts in there, but for the most part, you can't push somebody from behind, you can't hold them, you can't interfere with them. General rules. We can't restrict in a certain way, right? So how then we award when a foul occurs? We do a loss of ball if you have it. So if I currently have the ball, and let's say I then push off, which is also called playing with a free hand, and I just push you, I Heisman stiff arm you. I can't do that in our game. We're not going through this, but we'll go more in depth. I simply have to drop the ball. It's now somebody else's ball on the other team, right? So if I have the ball, I lose it because possessions are number one. If the ball is loose, rolling on the ground, and that occurs, I push somebody, we say loose ball goes to the other team. I don't get the ball anymore. Think playground, right? As I do something good, it's not my ball. And then in the scenario, if I don't have the ball, I'm looking at Terrence. So if Terrence's team has the ball and I then push him, I cannot lose possession because I don't have it. So now I have to go sit out, right? So if I have the ball, I can lose it. That's valuable. If I'm not entitled to it, I lose the possession again, goes to the other team. The entitlement goes to the other team. And if I don't have the ball to begin with and I commit one of these fouls, now we have time serving. All of these are 30 seconds. There's no variation. I'm going to do a slight pause. Anybody's got some? That's just technical. We're going to go through technicals next week.
Okay.
But to set your brain where we're at, these are going to be different. Now fouls against, I got a spelling in there, I apologize. Foul against players, right? Are going to be personal fouls. I personally did something to another player, right? Maybe an official, sake of argument. We then have, again, based on our expectations, a normal run of the mill is 1 minute. Something above that's a little bit like way worse than just bad is 2 minute. Excessive is 3. Flagrant is 3. Ejectable is 3. I feel like I'm playing Password from the 1960s. I know they redid those, but it's just it's a little Betty White action and Alan Dick. 1 minute is run of the mill, normal, right? Same thing. I missed on my slash, hit him in the arm. 2 minutes, right? Maybe I whacked him really good and I had no chance. My stick's out here. The stick comes and hits me right in the chest. And you hit me really, really, really hard. You heard the pop, right? No intent playing the ball. A baseball swing becomes 3 minutes. We talk about ejection on that player. Make sense on those buckets. The foul itself doesn't change. The level of severity changes is a good way to set your mind. How severe was it? A cross check is still a cross check. It doesn't change its fundamental premise. I'm hitting somebody with the middle of my stick and I'm thrusting. The elements don't change, the severity does. Questions on those before I go forward? And then I'm going to move. Go ahead,
Can I
Jeff.
just jump in for a second?
Yeah.
2 things. One, when they talk about personal fouls, they'll often talk about them being 1 to 3 minutes. But just to be clear, they're either 1, 2, or 3 minutes. You can't give a penalty that's a personal foul for 1.5 minutes or 1 minute and 15 seconds or something like that. It's either 1, 2, or 3. The second thing just to think about when you're thinking about technical fouls and personal fouls is know which are which. Officials who are new sometimes get themselves into trouble when they're calling a foul and they're calling a personal foul, but the time associated with it is 30 seconds, which is a technical, or they're calling a technical foul and they're giving a time for a personal foul. So as you learn these, just learn which ones are technical, which ones are personal, so you don't get the times wrong.
Excellent. We're gonna move through these, as I said. Again, think elements is the way I like teaching these. As Dr. Hinchy always says, this is a dynamic game. Watch those videos we posted. There is no two cross checks that are ever the same. There's context involved, right? What happened in that scenario? What's going on? What's the play like? Have you called that before, right? So again, in a cross check, I need the portion of my stick between my gloves, right? By rule, if I want to use this area, I have to be within the shoulders of my hands have to be within the shoulders, and then I can push on a player with equal force. I always get a look from a couple of you on the call. It's okay, right? And so push. If I then thrust, right? So my hands are apart, the most run-of-the-mill cross check. I'm like this, a player just pissed me off and I want to stop him, and I cross check really fast, right? And I just use this. We also see up a lot of times versus down. Smart players will go down because the chance of you hitting anything that's important is less because I'm going to get hip. If I go like this, I can go up to the head and neck, which is another issue, right? But again, run the mill. So it's a thrust, right? Arms extended out. I can't cross check like this. Maybe we have a hold. That's a different scenario, right? And again, a definitive motion that's going on. You're going to see these. A lot of times when you do see these are on big hits. A player goes to hit, we're allowed to hit with the shoulder. Instead of hitting with the shoulder, right? I use this. Similar in football, I'll use my helmet as a weapon. I'm using my stick as a weapon, is a good way of thinking of it. I should hit a player like this. Instead, I come in and I want to blow them up and dislodge the ball. So I use my stick. Questions? Gonna keep it rolling. Again, those slides are up. So for the sake of the video being jumpy, we're not going to do it. A legal body check, as we said. Again, shoulder on the front within the chest area is where we're eligible to hit. We can also hit on the shoulder. Can't be on the back shoulder, right? That's behind, but anything on the meat of the shoulder, as I call it, to the front, all the way in the chest and the stomach area, eligible. And we can use those items to hit that player. So we have to be within 5 yards, right? We have to be in that area, anything that's not. And then the other scenarios we have is if a player is on the ground, and we also see scenarios, as we said, of we can't hit with elbows. Elbow is not part of my shoulder, right? So if you see somebody go up with an elbow, that could be an illegal body check. We can also see an illegal body check on an offensive player. The number one way we see that is if they use their helmet and they hit the defenseman. You will see some really not smart attackmen will headbutt and throw one of those. Can't do that, but you will see the attackman lead and make helmet-to-helmet contact. We can throw a foul on the offensive player. You can draw legal contact. You can hit, right? You can draw that contact to separate. It's an okay play, right? But we have to do it by the terms of the rules. Same thing, that player has any body part besides their feet on the ground, they're considered grounded. They're ineligible to be hit. Especially that means we can't dog pile on top. We can't dive bomb the pile. Those are no-nos. Make sense on those? Same thing, for the sake of, if anything goes, it's not, to me, it's not immediate. The point of this is we can escalate from here. If a run-of-the-mill slash hits him in, makes contact with the helmet, we're okay. The cross check rides up just a little bit and hits in here, we're okay. If it's direct, that's the new college word. If it's direct with the head or the neck area, or it's a slash only to the head, now we can do an escalation to only 2 or 3 minutes with a full time, right, John? And we lock in anything head, neck, targeting, those defensive player, we do full time. So we do a genie, meaning they can score as many goals as they like and the player does not come out of the penalty box. Think about like a major in ice hockey. You can score as many times as you want. On a minor, you get released. That's a run-of-the-mill 1 minute penalty.
Rob, you want to tell them what spearing is? Just the definition?
Yeah, spearing is, again, that's similar to what I just said with the attackman. You're using the crown, especially the crown of your helmet, as your impact zone. So think, especially on the newer, these are Cascades. They also have this amazing little color piece. If they're using this color piece, no, right? You're using this as a spear, so to speak. That's the old helmet, definition, or excuse me, football definition. We can't spear with the crown of our helmet. Same thing, very dangerous, more dangerous again for the player committing the spear than it is a person receiving the spear, believe it or not. More neck issues.
Hey, Rob,
good.
Yep. I have a question, or again, maybe more of a youth thing, but sometimes it's an obvious slash is a guy who tries to make a play on the stick and they miss and they contact the helmet. You hear it all the time, but it's not necessarily intentional or egregious. That's still just a 1 minute, generally speaking.
Yeah, generally speaking, right? I know we did this a few years ago and it turned into a 46-minute discussion on a slash, right? No, that's not the intent of your question. Right? Yeah. Yes, in the general context, if it's normal, right? And think of, again, you're drawing the intention, especially of a youth player, right? Is when I always say, I throw it in there when I get to slash, I will control is the word I always use. Is a player in control of their stick, right? They go to make a play. The 9-year-old doesn't have perfect control to begin with. So they're making a play. They missed run of the mill in my opinion. They're not trying to injure. They're not intentionally trying to swing. If you see the kid wind up, some 9-year-olds know how to do that. And they know how to do it well. They're winding up. We have an intention change, right? But to your point, in the context, they go to make a stick check and they miss. It's okay. It's just a 1 minute. Life goes on. Same thing on a cross check, right? They go to make a hit. Maybe not necessarily youth because we don't have full body checking, but like a JV kid goes to make a hit, gets excited, right? Starts like this and then ends up like that and hits you. It's all right, man. We're going to learn. It's fine. You're okay. Nobody died. We're good. You got to go off. You got to keep your hands together, right? I always say JV, freshman, youth, do a little educating. The explanation is more for the player than anybody else. Sometimes to quiet the coach, but it goes a long way. If you go, hey, not a bad play. You just need to get your hands together and you're going to make a better play next time. That goes a long way for that 9th grader sometimes, right? 2-year-old doesn't like cross-checking. Again, defensive player, think anything blindside without possession. That's the old buddy pass, right? Is you can no longer hit somebody. They're waiting to catch a ball and you can't clean them out. We've taken that to all sports. We've taken that hit. Same thing, think again, receivers in football, right? Is that cornerback safety can't come blaring across the field and lay that person out without the ball. We're taking that out because that's the dangerous hit. Same thing with targeting. Targeting is a different where it's the sole intention to go to injure that player or to go for that more fragile area of the head and neck, right? Is the sole intention of that. So we go slashing. I added this control part, right? This player is not in control. At no point, I have always said, even one-handed, if you have your hand up like this, there is no control. We're not throwing the flag yet, right? By rule, they could miss. They don't have to make contact. You could still throw a slash if you feel it's dangerous, right? The player is coming up the field and the player pretends and follows through on a baseball swing and doesn't make contact. I'm probably throwing a flag, right? We're not even going to joke about that because if you do make contact, that kid's going to the hospital. And that's not the point of today, right? But again, think control, right? Think vicious, reckless abandon are the words they like. Striking head, back, leg, thigh, shoulder, elbow. Essentially, the only thing they can hit is a stick and a gloved hand that is on the stick. You cannot hit my hand if it is off the stick. You will see that to that same point. If I can just get that to go away. Again, you will see that hand out. You can't hammer away. If you then see the same thing, I have and then I take it off, and now you hit my hand at the same moment I take it off, we don't have a foul, right? That's not the intent. I'm going for that hand, and we missed. That's the Brooks question. If I have my hand out guarding, which I'm allowed to do in a stationary position, I cannot hammer away at that hand. Make sense on slashes? poke checks can also be slashes. To that point, Brooks, that's probably the more often one I see, right? We teach youth players, they got to poke and lift. He's so excited, he's ready, poke, right? And he just missed because the kid goes like this. And now I just get straight in the face.
Ooh.
Run of the mill, right? The kid was trying to poke. He was doing everything you were told him to do at 7 years old. He was going this way, which was great, and he missed. It's okay. As long as you just joust him in the face, I think we're okay, right? So again, context plays a lot and intention. I think I had tripping, to me, fairly simple. Could be body or stick on anything that's Staples and Ridgefield here in Fairfield County. But anything that's the primary action to trip the player, right? You can see it. The one I see more often, especially in high school games, if players' feet come together and that defenseman is standing there and the attackman moves, the attackman often hits his own feet. So just be aware of that, right? But a normal trip, if you see a stick come down on the feet, they miss. You see that in youth as well. They miss the check and the stick gets caught in their feet. They go down. We have a tripping penalty. Trippings are a minute. Ordinary garden variety. I think our last one, unnecessary. Again, this is that excessive. This is different than a legal body check. A legal body check, we can lock in time-wise if it's to the head and neck. Unnecessary, we cannot. This is the biggest one when you get to higher levels. Coaches will call you out very quickly because we cannot lock this in. This is think late, right? And think too much. If you see a play and you go, ugh, that's unnecessary, right? The sound the crowd makes and you make and the player sometimes makes, right, is shot, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, crack. You're just frustrated, right? Like at the entire scenario, that's unnecessary. If it's bang, bang, and it's to the head and elbows up, then we have illegal contact, right? We can have things that seem both, but we have to pick one or the other. And the variety is different. You can't say you can't, go ahead.
I was just wondering, so if that late hit, you were going 1 Mississippi score or whatever, they scored or they got rid of the ball, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, bang, you hear that. Now we can't, that's not locked in. I don't understand why it can't be locked.
By rule, right, and John will correct me if I'm wrong here, but by rule, we can call it depending on where he hit him. But by rule, unnecessary is just 1, 2, or 3. When we escalate to locked in is only to the head or neck.
Wow.
That's it, right? Or targeting, or right, like, or a blind side in those scenarios. So if we don't deem it targeting, we don't deem it a blind side. If he hit him square, shoulder in the chest, or literally shoves him, which is what you also see, I might just shove you right after the play because I go to shoot, I'm off balance, and then the guy finishes his check. I'm just late. And if I'm late, it's not as dangerous as going towards that head or neck, is the general idea. Now, again, it sounds like we're splitting hairs, but we are. If you deem he hits him late and high, call it high, right?
Okay.
Because now we can go and say, have a discussion of, was it 2 minutes? Was it directly to the head? Was it excessive, right? We can now have that discussion. But if you call it unnecessary, we are very confined in our box. If that makes sense.
Terrence, keep in mind, you could give a 2 or 3 minute penalty if it's a little more violent. Okay. It's not locked in, but it's a higher, it sends the message that we weren't going to tolerate. It's a little above and beyond even what we call unnecessary roughness.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So you can give 2 or 3, but you can't lock it in, as Robbie has said.
Can I just bring up one more point, Rob?
Yeah.
Folks, you'll notice under unnecessary roughness, the first one says excessively violent holding and pushing infractions. So remember, from what we learned before, generally holding and pushing are technical fouls. But if it's particularly violent, then you could give the personal foul for unnecessary roughness. And just one example where you might see that, sometimes you'll see a player will have his stick and his arm and it'll be kind of wrapped around the player and he's holding, and then he'll continue and kind of throw that player to the ground. So now it's no longer just an ordinary holding infraction. You can give it a personal foul, unnecessary roughness. And
the other common one you'll see too is if somebody blows up a pick, right? We set a legal pick, and I don't want to be caused to go around the pick, and that defensive player smashes into the kid, right? Might be shoulder to chest, but we can't blow up that kid who's setting a legal play, if that makes sense, right? So that's where we say, hey, that was excessive. It might have been on time, but you can't hit a player without the ball, right? So that's excessive, right? So it's unnecessary to that whole kind of area, as John said. I think conducts are next. What we're going to do for time-wise, I like doing conduct all in the same, because we're going to go over ladder and all that other things. Fighting is the other one that comes in there on sportsmanlike. Again, we're going to go over ladder with all the technical fouls next week, because again, we start with these before immediately going to a minute in most scenarios. So I want to teach you in the correct order as versus saying what the extreme stuff is, when we should be using tools to de-escalate when we can, right? So again, you'll see those in there. And I think we're going to move to Dick and Steve, but I just want to do a quick pause. We're going to throw it over to Dick and Steve to do Crease for about 25 minutes here. Questions on personal fouls or face-offs? It seems like a lot, but just think, right? Stick missing is number one. Somebody getting hit illegally is number two. Those are the easiest ways to think it, right? Is I'm using my stick inappropriately, or I'm using my body inappropriately. Those are the easy things. Again, remember you have a partner, right? If something goes haywire and you see a kid's head get taken off, throw your flag, right? Your partner's probably going to have it too. Worst case scenario, I'm going to run over to Steve. I'm going to go, Steve, I have no idea. I didn't see any of that. Can you bail me out? And Steve's going to go, yeah, Robbie, you have a 2-minute cross check and it's to the head and it's locked in. I go, Steve, that's a great eye. Thank you, sir. And then I'm going to run back and report the penalty, right? But use your partner. If you know something's bad and you know exactly what it is, throw it and then figure it out, right? The key is to throw it, because we need to stop that play that goes in. Again, we're going to go over the mechanics of throwing the flag, all that good stuff. I'm going to throw it in if you want to shoot me a chat or anything like that, or just a general chat. I'm happy to answer additional questions. And with that, Dick and Steve, it is yours, and I'm going to stop screen sharing.
Okay.
Yeah, Steve, why don't you start with the slides, and then when we get to the presentation, then I'll share on my side.
All right, let's do this. Here we go. Okay, can we see that?
Yep.
All righty. So let's talk about the goal crease, the goalie mechanics. So we sort of have three things that are going on here. And we'll, I think let's start off with the crease itself. Let me just see if I'm getting my thing here to work. Here we go. So we got one official looking at how many guys. And if you look at the very bottom, you see that curved line. That curved line is the crease line. There's a goalkeeper inside there. And there's a lot of action that we've got to kind of look at. So let's talk about the goal in the crease. You want to hit that, Dick? Okay. So what have we got here? We've got three things to look at. There's a little feedback here for somebody.
Yeah, Dick, we're getting feedback on you.
Sorry, yep.
Okay. So we talk about one of our pregame activities is looking at the nets, because a net, we got a face-off, which is critical for possession, but we got a goal that's critical for deciding who scores and if they in fact scored. So we want to be looking at the nets and making sure they're in the proper position. So let's give our tour here. You've got a goal net, goal pipes that are 6 feet tall, 6 feet wide, and are supposed to be secure on the ground. There's a net, which is supposed to be securely attached around the pipes so that a ball cannot leak through. So we have no questions whether the ball is in or out in terms of declaring a goal. Along the base is, and we'll get a better picture in a minute, there is the goal line. The goal line goes from pipe to pipe, and it's supposed to be the same width as the pipe, which is 1.5 inches. But most of the time, fields are lined with the line may be 4 inches or 2 inches or wider. I've had them as far as 4 inches. So it's really critical that you make sure that the pipes are positioned properly on the line. I'll show you on another slide in a minute. Around, we have the crease. The crease line is a circle. It's 9 feet in radius that goes around, and that's called the crease. And we'll use another term you'll hear, which is goal line extended. And that's really taking that line that forms the goal line, and it's an imaginary line that just extends one way or the other. And we'll call that goal line extended. And that has some meaning in terms of our positioning and also when we're determining things such as a shot. Okay, so we talked about the goal crease, the 9 feet radius of the crease. You see the term goal area. That's the attack area, the goal area, really that box area that Robbie was talking about a few minutes ago is also considered the goal area. So we have a difference between crease and area. All right, we have another term we're going to use, the goal cylinder. So this is an imaginary cylinder that is as round as the crease is, goes vertically in. This has a meaning in terms of, its only meaning is really in reference to a goalkeeper who's in the crease and how he can be, and the privilege that the goalkeeper will have within the crease. That's the only time we'll see the cylinder in use. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. All right, rules. Dick, you want to take this?
Sure.
Okay.
So rule 418, and this is almost totally right out of the book, but a goalkeeper may do the following. He can stop or block the ball, the shot, in any manner with his body, including his hands, his head, his feet, whatever it takes. He can bat or block the ball with his hand, but no touching the ball otherwise. For example, if the ball is on the ground, he can't pick it up and put it into his cross. He can't flick it with his fingers and put it in his cross. Conversely, no opposing player, in this case, offensive player, may make contact with the keeper, his cross, or the goal cage during or before a shot, but after is okay. So once that ball's in the net, yeah, okay, fine. I touch the goalie afterwards, or my stick touches the goal afterwards. That's okay, as long as it's not a slash. Any questions on that?
Yeah,
There
so
are.
what- I was
Yes,
just
go
gonna-
ahead, Steve.
Just keep in mind what Dick was saying after a shot. We're talking about after a goal. Essentially, when a goal is scored, play is dead. Okay, once play is dead, we don't have anything except personal fouls, which would be violent fouls that would be considered. And that's where the cylinder may come into play as far as where the goalkeeper is. Batting or blocking the ball, just keep in mind, he cannot bat it into his cross either. He can just bat it away. He can't bat it and direct it into his cross. That's illegal.
Right, right. And next slide, Steve.
Here we are. We're there.
So, right, so continuing at 418, once the goalkeeper has the ball in his stick, in the crease, right? It's in possession. Here's where you really need to remember what possession means. The ability to pass, cradle, carry, or shoot. And you'll see why in a little bit. But as we said earlier, once that's in his possession, or any other player in the crease, any defensive player in the crease in possession, you start your 4-second count along with your 20 count. Again, no player, typically this would be a defensive player or the goalie, with possession outside of that cylinder cannot run back into the crease area with the ball in possession. That would be what's called in and out, same signal as over and back. An offensive player may touch or clamp or rake a loose ball in the crease. We'll see that in a minute in some of the demonstrations. And then a goalie gets 5 seconds to return to the crease before a restart. And there's a little note there. This is high school only, NFHS. Does not apply to the NCAA rule book. If the goalie had been out of the crease, maybe way out in the alley or all the way up in the neutral zone, had lost possession, or there was some kind of a foul, well, let's talk just about lost possession, because a foul, you would have a control, more or less a controlled restart. Unless it's a fast restart. So that goalie gets a 5-second count before you blow your whistle for the restart. If he's not in before that 5 seconds, you can start. If he's just taking his time walking back in, blow your whistle and start. Yep.
Okay, yeah, just a couple other comments. I don't know if the concept of where you are, what zone you are in as a player. Keep in mind, if you're ever airborne, the zone that you left is the zone that you are in. And that has some meaning here that, for example, we talk about the goalkeeper not being able to re-enter with possession. Keep in mind it's possession. If the goalkeeper passes the ball out and remains in the crease and his teammate passes it back to him, that's a legal play.
Correct.
What happens if you have the goalkeeper out of the crease area and his teammate is passing the ball back to him and it's a little high, he jumps, catches the ball, and lands in the crease? What would we have in that scenario?
He's in and out.
He's in and out, okay? Remember, he was in the zone he was in was outside the crease. He was in the attack area, but not in the crease when he went airborne, but he landed with possession in the crease, so that's an in and out. So keep that in mind. You will probably see that particular one.
And Steve, to your point as well, and for everybody, if the ball is out with a defenseman and the goalie's in the crease without the ball, you can pass the ball back into the goalie. The pass is okay. It's the physical body coming back into the crease that we're looking for. Yep.
Okay. And I had one other thing here. Okay, so again, goalkeeper. Let's take goalkeepers out of the crease. Usually the one that we're looking at is a shot's taken. The goalkeeper is going to the end line trying to get the ball, and he's either beat or not, or he gets the ball. Before we restart, he's given a 5 count. You make it a visual 5 count, hands up in the air, and you're doing your 5 count so that he can get back into the crease. Now, a rule there's been a little bit of a modification in terms of interpretation of the rule, because we've been seeing goalkeepers taking advantage of this, like the ball's out of bounds and already out of bounds, and then they make a run thinking they're going to get the 5 seconds to go back. And that's so that they can get their defense reset. So we're going to discuss that more in the clinic with everybody else about that rule interpretation in terms of if a goalkeeper is taking advantage of it. Don't get too tied up with that now. But if a goalkeeper is downfield, he ran with the ball, got checked from his cross, and there was some turnover violation that the other team gets the ball, we can give him 5, but if he's not back in the crease by 5, that's too bad. He gets a 5 second and no more. He doesn't get to get back to the crease. He gets 5 second head start. All right.
Yep.
So we talk about keys, and we'll refresh about keys when we talk about fouls also, but keep in mind that if you've got your antenna is up for a violation of some kind, where's the ball? Where is the goalkeeper? And then determining whether there's possession or not. This is something we're going to talk about in terms of interference with the goalkeeper. So it's important to know where the status of the ball, where the ball is, where the goalkeeper is. Okay, so we either have goalkeeper in the crease with possession, we have goalkeeper out of the crease with possession, we have a loose ball with the goalkeeper in the crease, and we could have a loose ball in the crease. All right, and those are some things we're going to talk about in a couple now. So let's take a look at this. Where is the goalkeeper? Is he in the crease or is he out of the crease? Looks like he's wearing sandals.
Anybody.
He's in the crease.
He's in the
In the
crease.
crease.
You are my baby.
He is in the crease. His back foot is in the crease, and that's all he needs. And so despite having that extension of almost 5 feet out, can his cross with the ball can it be checked? Can it be checked? Checked.
No.
No, no, because you cannot check a goalkeeper when he's in the crease, with or without the ball. Here, he has possession of the ball, but he's in the crease. Now, if that back foot gets lifted up, what happens?
He's out.
He's out. And what if he put his back foot back in?
In
In
and
and
out.
out.
In and out. Okay, very good, very good. All right, so that's just showing he's in the crease. That's how far it extends his territory as far as being the privilege of the goalkeeper. Okay,
Ooh.
so here we got a goalkeeper. He has the ball in his cross. He's up in the air, and now we're seeing, I don't know whether we actually have a check or not, but it looks like there may be.
Yeah, I think that the intent was, yes, that's a check to the stick.
Must
Yeah.
be a check to the stick. So where is the goalkeeper?
In
He
the
looked like
crease.
he's in the crease, but he's in the air, so I don't know.
In the air, but where did he probably launch? Actually, if you kind of look, there's a yellow line here. That's actually the crease line. This is,
So he in the
okay.
crease.
So he launched from the crease.
Yes.
So technically, he is where? He is still where?
The crease, in the crease.
So a check, is that a legal check or an illegal check by number 29?
Illegal.
Illegal, which is going to be goalkeeper interference. Okay, we'll talk about enforcement in a minute, but this would be a goalkeeper interference. And there's a good chance that if he didn't touch the stick, he was going to end up in the crease anyway, 29. which is-
Yeah.
All right, so what do we have here? Do we have, what's the status of the ball? Is there,
Yeah, go to your
It's-
3 keys here. Go to your 3 keys.
do we have possession, yes or no?
No,
Yes.
Who's,
No.
do we have?
Goalie's
Remember-
clamping down on it, right?
Remember
Well-
the definition of possession.
What's possession? Can the goalkeeper pass that ball? Can
No.
the
Oh, no, no,
goalkeeper shoot
no.
that ball? No, it's under his cross.
Steve,
Right.
can he make a dodge?
Can he make a dodge? He's pretty good if it's stuck in his cross, but no. So the point here is the ball is loose.
Yes.
Okay, so and where is it? Is it in the crease? It's still in the crease. All right. So what's our third key? Okay, we don't have possession. We have a loose ball. It's in the crease. If that white player with the red helmet, if he touches the ball, has he committed goalkeeper interference?
No.
no,
Okay, so the key here is that he can go under the goalkeeper's cross for the ball. Okay, and usually what you'll see is perhaps a sweeping motion. In this case, it looks like he may sort of being a shovel, a shovel kind of motion to go under for the ball. And the incidental contact with the goalkeeper's stick is not a violation. Okay, so in this case, we wouldn't have a violation. Now, what happens if he came down, but instead of going for the ball underneath, he checks the cross from the top? He hits the cross from the top as opposed to shoveling underneath for the ball. Would we have a violation? Where's the ball? Where's the goalkeeper?
He's in the crease.
in the crease.
Crease, okay?
And
And
he can't
so-
be hit. He can't be
so the-
checked with or without the ball.
So the contact with the cross. Now we've got contact with the cross, not contact with the ball and incidental contact with the cross. So that would be interference.
Yep.
It's a loose ball, but it's an interference with the goalkeeper. Okay. Now, at the youth level, call interference. Okay, because they're not that talented, they're going to get underneath. As the quality of the abilities of players improve, you're going to see this play quite a bit. But more often than not, you'll have an interference call at sub-varsity levels and youth levels. Okay.
And Steve, just to amplify here, a loose ball in the crease with the goalie's stick nowhere near it, the offensive player can touch inside the crease with his stick only, okay? He can't step in there to get the ball, but he can swat it to try to hit it in the goal, or he can try to tennis rake it out of there. as long as he initiates the touch to the ball first.
Which brings up the question, so if he is going for the ball, the goalkeeper's not near him, and he's going for the ball, now the goalkeeper comes and checks his cross, just hammers down on his cross. Who has initiated the contact?
The goalie.
Goalie.
So now, is that interference?
No.
That won't be interference. Okay, good.
Good.
All right, so,
All right, Steve, stop your share for a second. I'll turn on the camera here.
got it. There we go. Now it's you.
And then you can, 1 second here.
We just gotta do 4 minutes and we'll be done. Okay, just give us 4 minutes and we'll,
All right,
there we go.
that coming through.
Yep, there you are. You're up there.
Okay, let me go get in the crease.
Now, that's a 9-foot radius crease.
So in this case, Steve, ball's in there loose.
Okay, so we've got a loose ball here and Dick is the goalkeeper. That's a goalkeeper cross, but we're so far away, it looks smaller. Okay. And so does the crease. So we got the goalkeeper and he's clamped on the ball. Clamp on the ball, Dick. There we go. Now, can we check his cross?
No.
No,
Can we sweep underneath to get the ball?
yes.
Yes, we could. All right. So if we sweep under, okay, so the key is he's got to go under. He's basically got to touch the ball before he could incidentally touch the cross. All right. That's the difference you're going to make, which is why most of the time you call interference at the younger levels. Now we're in the crease. Ball, put the ball on the ground with the ball, Dick. I'm sorry, Dick, back in the crease. Put the ball on the ground in your possession on the ground. Hold up. Okay, possession, no possession. Lifts, comes back. What do we have? Do it again, Dick. He's got possession of the ball. He's in the crease, lifts the back foot,
Uh-huh.
puts it back down,
He puts it back down and he'll be in and out.
in and out. Okay. So
And Steve, can you just do the symbol for him for
Okay.
in and out?
Our symbol is going to be in and out. Okay. You run in, you point to the crease and you go in and out and then give your direction, or you give your direction where the ball's going. Okay. That's in and out. Now, keep in mind that, we talked about the cylinder before. So Dick's foot was in the air in the cylinder. It's got to be grounded to be in the crease, not in the cylinder, grounded to be in the crease. The only time the cylinder comes in is really an attacking player who's trying to attack the goalkeeper.
So Steve, I'm gonna show now the one with the ball and the goalie out of the crease. In our junior clinics, we always catch goalies calling this incorrectly, okay? So here we go. Goalies come out of the crease to get a loose ball, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have possession yet?
No,
No.
Am I in and out?
No.
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 Exactly. How about now?
In and out.
Yes.
Exactly. I can't tell you how many goalies don't even know that. You'll see goalies doing this. They'll keep a toe here and they'll strain way out here to get a ball and pick it up in their cross. That's okay. We used to teach goalies, trap it and just tennis rake it back in. Now it's all by you because you're in your area. So that's a little nuance there.
Ah,
The key is possession. And
You
the
want any other scenarios, Steve?
No, that's the only one. The only question I will ask is, so what if this was a defenseman doing all of this action? So we have a defenseman who's raked the ball back into the crease. Can the defenseman be checked?
yes.
Crease?
No.
No? Yes. He's not the goalie.
Remember, the rule is goalkeeper. Goalkeeper.
He's not the goalie.
It's a goalkeeper's privilege, not a defensive player's privilege. So if a defenseman has the ball, for some reason, he has the ball in the crease, two things happen. First of all, he's got 4 seconds to get it out, but he is not protected by the cylinder of the crease. His cross can be checked. Okay? Very, very, very important. Very important to remember. Can a defenseman act as a goalkeeper?
No.
No.
No. Okay, so we should not be seeing defensemen in the crease. The only time they might possibly in the crease is they're kind of cutting through to cover their player who's behind the goal. But if they turn and they're actually facing the ball to act as a goalkeeper, that's a violation. It's a technical foul. And we want to call that as soon as we see it. However, if a shot is taken when we see it, we need to let the shot go in case it scores a goal. And then for the first violation, it's a technical foul. And any subsequent violation, if it happens a second time, it becomes a 1-minute releasable unsportsmanlike. Okay.
Steve, one other nuance, and you won't see it too often, but the goalie's made a save. To get out of the 4-second count, he exits behind the crease. So he goes back, that end of the crease.
Yep.
And while he's back there, he's about to get assaulted by 2 attackmen. So he figures, well, I'll throw the ball back into the crease and then I'll go in and get it. What do you got, Steve?
Well, I'll ask the body what we have.
Right? So the goalie has thrown the ball back in, and then he goes into the crease, picks up the ball, and is expecting a 4-second count again.
He's come out. He's come out, thrown the ball back in. So is that allowed or not allowed?
Not allowed.
No, in the spirit of the rules, that's not allowed. So that would be an illegal. That'd be an illegal procedure. It's not really an in and out. It's more an illegal procedure.
Right.
The other scenario is he's in the crease and his count is getting kind of high. It's getting up to the 4th count. He tosses the ball up in the air and catches it again. Or he drops it on, or he drops it in the crease and then scoops it up again. Do we refresh the 4-second count?
No.
No.
No. Once the 4-second count starts, it continues until the ball is out of the crease. Okay.
Question.
Yes.
Steve, you said that if a player enters the crease, is a violation. If a defensive player enters the crease, is a violation, is the first warning. But the second time, if it's another player, if it's a different player on the same team,
Yeah, it
Second
is just
violation. They're good.
So
rules.
who-
Favor, just tell them out in the meeting.
the
the
player
second
needs to be acting as the goaltender as well. So if you deem the player is, all right, let's mute real quick.
nice job,
Um,
Dick.
Yep, if you deem that the player is acting as a goaltender, it's a safety issue. They don't have the shots protected.
How do we administer that penalty? How do we?
So that's an
who gets-
immediate whistle. As long as the ball is not in flight, it's an immediate whistle because it's a safety issue, right? So think of the same way as a player lost a helmet, right? So we're going to blow it dead, right? Then the flag comes out and then that player serves 30. Now the team is that is the official warning for the team. If any other player does it again, it then just escalates to a 1-minute releasable. And it's that second player that serves.
That player who committed the second foul is the one who would serve the penalty.
Correct. They just haven't escalated.
Okay.
They can, what's different probably to your question too, in the women's game, the defenseman wasn't allowed to go in the crease. Ours can go in and out freely. That's fine, the defensive player, they just can't act as the goalie.
Okay.
So the women's game now changed it that they can run through, but again, ours, they can run through, they just can't act as a goalie because that's the safety issue.
The main time you'll see that is the goalkeeper is out of the crease. He may be downfield, he may be behind the goal for whatever reason. And now a defenseman kind of steps in and you see him position himself as a goalkeeper. Once he does that, even though there's not a shot, once he establishes and looks as though he's being a goalkeeper, that's when we can call the violation right away. And if it's a loose ball, it's just simply awarded. Otherwise, it's a 30-second technical for the first violation. Second would be a minute. Okay.
Steve, I believe too, don't we add unless imminent score is happening?
Correct. No, we'll treat it as what we call a silent, slow whistle.
Right.
If you see him and if you see the player taking that position and you also see the attack player starting to take a shot, we got to let the shot go.
Right.
Okay. Otherwise you blow the problem is you blow the whistle and everybody kind of freezes and something happens with the ball. If the defenseman's going to get hit, he's going to get hit. Let's, wait for the action before we blow the whistle. So don't kill it. Right. If you see a shot is imminent or in flight, don't blow the whistle until it ends in the goal or hits the ground or hits the player, then blow the whistle immediately. Okay. You'll sort of know how to do it when you see it.
Could I add one more thing? You'll see in the rule book, it talks about, we've talked about in and out of the crease or re-entry of the crease is the way they describe the signal. It's a little bit misleading. The penalty is really entry into the crease with the ball. It does not have to be re-entry. So if a goalie picks up the ball, he's outside the crease and he picks it up and walks in, he hasn't re-entered the crease with the ball the whole time, going out and back in. So basically, if you just think about it, is the goalie or any defensive player cannot enter the crease with the ball in possession. That's really what the rule is about, I believe. Steve, do you agree?
I would expand it by saying nobody with possession of the ball outside the crease can enter the crease.
Right.
And that includes attack players.
Right. Oh, one other thing, Steve, could you just clarify when it's okay for an attack player to make contact with the netting, particularly like on a shot where the ball misses and it's on the back of the netting, and how that's different from hitting the netting when you're taking a shot?
So you're alluding to someone else takes a shot and for some reason his follow through hits the net. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, as opposed to just allowing an attack player to scoop the ball out of the back of on the backside of the net when it's just,
Oh, okay. So,
you know what I mean?
okay. So ball is caught and is trapped on the back part of the crease in the net. Keep in mind, when we talk about the net, it's a triangular piece that goes towards the back. And sometimes you'll have a situation where the ball rolls in, it gets caught in the netting. In that case, the netting is not considered part of the goal behind the goal. Okay. And so an attack player, without going in the crease, if he can kind of bat at the net to loosen the ball to get it out, that's a legal play. Okay. And think of it as that's an event that happens behind the goal line extended. Remember, I talked about the goal line extended. That any play behind there, he simply can't go into the crease, but he can attempt to get the ball if it's lodged in the net. I think we spent enough on that, right, Rob?
That was excellent. Thank you both, especially to Dick's second camera was fantastic for the aerial shot of that crease, and the ant's view of your goaltending head, which is of correct size and NFHS legality as well. We'll stay on. It is 8:44, so appreciate you letting us run a little bit. Again, they are dense. They're really good questions. Again, we're going to go through technical fouls and cover anything we missed next week. Again, the PDF is coming out, so you're going to have an activity as well. Please make sure you do that. Please make sure you check any of the homework and also the recap. Again, this will be up on YouTube if you need to go back for anything. We're going to stay on as always. If you got questions on anything, thanks for hanging with us and enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy your weeks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy
Thanks.
President Day. Happy
Thanks.
President Day.
Thank you very much, everyone.
All right.
Take care.
Hey, Rob, I have a question if you got